10 hidden signs a woman wants to give herself to you, but won't say it. Psychology tricks. Love is not about finding someone to live with. It's about finding someone you can't imagine living without. Rafael Ortiz. Gentlemen, here's a hard truth that many men never get to hear. Women don't distance themselves because you're too aloof, too cold, or too unavailable. They pull back because you handed over parts of yourself that they hadn't earned yet. You gave too much trust, too much forgiveness, too much effort, and too much of your future. You gave freely with no boundaries, and subconsciously, she could feel the imbalance long before you did. You see, a woman doesn't lose interest for no reason. The truth is, she pulls away when she realizes that you're more invested in her than you are in yourself. If you've ever been blindsided by a sudden change in her behavior, her emotional distance, her lack of affection, or even her disrespect, there's a reason behind it. You crossed invisible lines, ones you didn't even know existed. In this video, I'll break down the critical mistakes that many men make when it comes to relationships, things that cause them to lose respect and sabotage their own worth. I've seen this pattern repeat itself time and time again with smart, capable, good men. The problem? They never understood the importance of setting boundaries. Women don't get confused about this. They respond to structure. They respond to clarity. And when you fail to bring that to the table, the relationship will inevitably decline. What I'm offering you in this video is the exact framework I've used to help men rebuild their confidence and redefine the dynamics in their relationships. If you're ready to regain control of your life and lead your relationships with strength and purpose, hit like and subscribe. Then, drop a comment saying, "I'm ready to lead my life again." Speak it out loud so your mind absorbs it. This shift starts now, and it begins with understanding the first mistake that quietly diminishes a man's value. Number 1. Never forgive cheating twice. It's not just a mistake, it's a choice. Betrayal isn't an accident, it's a conscious decision. Listen up, when a woman crosses that line, it's not because she lost her way, got confused, or made an innocent error. She made a choice. And when you, as a high-value man, rush to forgive her, hoping that you'll magically fix things, you miss the underlying message you're sending. You think it's about reconciliation? It's not. What you're actually saying is clear. Your boundaries are flexible, and your self-respect is negotiable. You must understand this. Women don't evaluate you based on your compliments or how much affection you give. They evaluate you based on your standards. When a woman sees you tolerate infidelity, she recalculates your value in her mind. She might apologize, she might cry, she might swear that it'll never happen again. But none of those actions undo what's already been done. Her perception of you has shifted. She now sees that you can be manipulated emotionally and you'll bend. And that's where the problem lies. It's not just the act of cheating, it's the fact that you stayed. You've made yourself disposable in her eyes. Women are not attracted to men who let their dignity slip away. They're attracted to men who maintain their masculine energy, protect their self-respect, and stand firm in their values. That's the real magnetism. Forgiving betrayal twice isn't a sign of love, it's a sign of self-abandonment. If you want to rebuild your life, if you want to truly attract women, you draw the line. Once. Not through anger, not through drama, but through calm, unwavering certainty. Be firm in your limits and be clear about what's acceptable and what isn't. That's the power of a high-value man, a man who protects his dignity without hesitation, without excuses. The woman may test you again, but if you fold, if you allow disrespect to slip through, she'll never see you as the man you want to be. You must realize that a man who enforces his boundaries without resorting to outbursts or emotional manipulation is a man who keeps his power. The truth is simple. A woman will respect a man with firm limits far more than a man who tries to earn love by tolerating disrespect. That is the key to attracting women in a way that lasts. Keep your power. Keep your self-respect. Never forgive cheating twice, because once you do, you send a signal that you have no value, and that's a message you cannot afford to send if you want to attract the right woman into your life. Number 2. Never ask for permission to live your life. There's a world of difference between sharing your plans with a woman and asking her for permission to live your life. So many men blur this line, and the moment you do, the entire dynamic shifts. You need to understand this clearly. The moment you start waiting for her approval before you make decisions, you send a message that you've handed over your autonomy. You turn what should be a partnership into a hierarchy, where you sit at the bottom. And that's not the position of a high value man. Women don't lose respect for men because they communicate. They lose respect when a man surrenders his agency. When you hesitate, checking in with her before you take a trip, accept a new opportunity, or even commit to something simple like a social event, she doesn't see you as a thoughtful partner. She sees a man who needs to be managed. And trust me, once that perception sets in, it doesn't stay isolated to just one part of your relationship. It seeps into everything. She's no longer looking at you as a decision maker, but as someone who can't act without her say so. That's a problem. Now, think about how it looks when you let her speak for you in public. Picture this. Someone asks you a direct question, and instead of answering, you glance at her as if you need permission to speak. She steps in, answers for you, and there you are, standing like a man who forgot he has a voice. One moment like this is enough to make her reframe her view of you, not as a leader, but as a follower. And that's not attractive. A follower doesn't carry the emotional gravity that a woman instinctively seeks. She wants a man who knows where he's going, who makes decisions with confidence, and who doesn't look to her to chart the course. Female psychology tells us that women are instinctively drawn to men who demonstrate direction and strength. It's in their nature. And if you want to learn how to fall in love with a woman who will stay by your side, you need to show up as someone who can lead, not someone who needs to be led. Here's the psychology trick that works in your favor. When you make decisions confidently, she can relax in the security of your leadership. When you make her the decision maker, though, you're creating a vacuum of power she won't fill with respect, but with a desire to direct. And that's not what women find attractive. You need to own your choices and communicate them with transparency, not for approval, but as a matter of fact. That's what female psychology craves: stability, direction, and confidence. When a man stands firm in his choices, he becomes a man she can lean on. But when he vacillates, she'll feel the need to step in, and that's when the imbalance happens. Be the man who makes decisions and communicates them clearly, not the one who waits for permission to live his own life. Don't make the mistake of handing over your agency. You are the leader in your own life. That is the key to keeping your masculine energy intact and attracting the right kind of respect in a relationship. If this message hit home, like the video, drop a comment and share it with a man who needs this. Don't forget to subscribe for more powerful psychology tricks. Comment to remember: a real man makes decisions. He doesn't wait for permission to live. Number 3. Never go broke for female validation. Never let the pursuit of female validation cost you your financial or emotional stability. It's a dangerous trap many men fall into, using money to impress a woman who's more interested in display than substance. When you start using cash as a tool for attention, you condition her to value the performance, not the man behind the wallet. And here's the cold, hard truth: the more you spend, the less you gain. Men who think generosity equals loyalty are living under a misconception. Money does not buy love. Stability, confidence, and direction are what women truly crave. You need to realize that overspending and living above your means is not seen as a sacrifice. It's a sign of poor judgment. When a woman sees you stretching your financial limits, she doesn't admire your effort. She questions your ability to lead a life, let alone a relationship. The moment that doubt creeps in, the dynamic changes. The power shifts. The excitement fades. You've created a dangerous pattern. The more you give, the more she expects, and the more you lose. Ironically, this cycle breeds nothing but emptiness. You become the provider of experiences, but not the source of strength. When you can't keep up with the facade, the attraction fades, and so does your value in her eyes. The truth is simple, yet hard to swallow. Overspending to win affection only sets you up for failure. The moment you start to lose grip on your finances, you lose her interest too. She doesn't respect you. She respects what you provide. This is where Stoicism comes into play. Men with an iron mind don't compromise their principles for fleeting moments of validation. You must protect your time, your money, and your boundaries with the same discipline. Don't overspend. Don't overextend. You invest in yourself, your education, your personal growth. Stability attracts. Flashiness repels. A woman who respects you will respect the structure of your life, not just the dollar signs you can throw her way. The old Stoic wisdom says, a man's wealth is not in his possessions, but in his discipline. When you stop living for others' approval and start living for yourself, you hold the key to a deeper, more lasting attraction. In modern life, this wisdom is more relevant than ever. Our world glorifies excess, but you must be smarter than that. Real strength comes from self-control, not from buying your way into a woman's heart. If you have to spend to be noticed, you were never truly chosen. Remember, purchases are temporary. Respect, loyalty, and true attraction, those are built on a foundation of self-discipline and iron-willed determination. That's the Stoic win, and that's how you command the respect you deserve. Number 4. Never allow her to micromanage your life. Never let her micromanage your life. Control doesn't just barge into a relationship. It sneaks in little by little, disguised as care, concern, or helpful suggestions. At first, it might seem harmless. She asks to check in more often, suggests small changes to your routine, or makes little requests that appear reasonable. But soon, you'll realize you're not in a relationship anymore. You're in a cage of surveillance that you didn't even realize you agreed to. Men, take note. The moment she starts micromanaging, it usually comes from one of two places: her insecurity or a desire to take charge when she feels there's a leadership void. And if you allow it, if you let her track your whereabouts, question your every move, monitor your messages like she's your boss, you're digging your own grave when it comes to attraction. Why? Because this behavior is a subtle but effective way to diminish your worth in her eyes. As a high-value man, you attract women not by giving in to these little demands, but by maintaining your masculine energy and sense of self. The more she tries to control you, the less she can admire you. The more she monitors your life, the less she trusts you, and the more she dictates what you can or can't do, the less she respects the man at the center of it all. Men forget this simple truth. Women are not attracted to someone they can control. They're drawn to someone who leads, someone who stands strong in his own life, regardless of her input. The real danger in allowing this micromanagement is that it slowly erodes your identity. You stop trusting yourself. You hesitate before making decisions. You start second-guessing your own actions just to avoid a conflict. You're no longer a man who boldly takes charge of his life. You become a man constantly worried about what's going to upset her. That's where attraction dies. And it doesn't die in a dramatic, explosive moment. It dies in the quiet surrender of your will, bit by bit. Attraction doesn't thrive in fear of consequences. It thrives in confidence and clarity. A man who knows what's acceptable and what isn't, who draws his own boundaries without apology, is a man she can respect. Don't be the man who's afraid to set limits. Don't be the man who gives in to micromanagement because it seems like the easy way to avoid a fight. Be the man who speaks up and sets clear expectations, one who knows what privacy means, what transparency should look like, and what mutual respect truly is. A woman doesn't want to control a man. She wants to lean on a man. And that kind of strength, both physical and mental, comes from knowing exactly who you are and where you're going. No approval needed. Don't forget it. If you're the kind of man who lets her dictate every detail of your life, you're not living your own. And without a life of your own, you won't be able to attract women or keep them for long. Stay strong, stay confident, and above all, stay in control. She'll respect you for it. If you're ready to reclaim control and maintain your power in any relationship, drop a comment right now. I am the man who leads, not follows. Like this video, subscribe for more unshakable wisdom, and remind yourself daily, true attraction starts with self-respect. Number 5. Never lie to make her feel better. This is one of the most powerful, yet often overlooked, psychology tricks that can make or break your relationship. Here's the reality. A woman can sense the difference between the truth and flattery the same way you can sense the difference between respect and mere tolerance. When you begin sugarcoating things to protect her feelings, you may think you're being kind, but in reality, you're slowly dismantling the trust that binds you. Every time you bend the truth, every little white lie, you're chipping away at her confidence in you. And once trust erodes, nothing you say will carry weight again. Men often lie out of fear of conflict, fear of hurting her, and fear of disrupting the fragile peace that exists. But here's the hard truth: a woman doesn't lose respect for you because you tell her the truth. She loses respect because you're too scared to speak it. When you compliment her on something you don't genuinely believe, or when you avoid pointing out the habits that are quietly damaging the relationship, she doesn't hear kindness. She hears weakness. You must understand, women are highly attuned to emotional inconsistencies. If her outfit doesn't look good and you say it does, she knows. If she's slipping into unhealthy behavior and you pretend not to notice, she knows. And if you keep nodding along just to avoid friction, she knows. The power of female psychology lies in her ability to see through the surface. Once she realizes you're willing to distort reality just to keep the peace, she'll stop relying on your words altogether. If you're pretending everything is fine when it's not, you're not building trust, you're creating doubt. This is one of the most crucial points in learning how to fall in love the right way. It's not about what you say, it's about how you say it, and more importantly, what you don't say. Women respect a man who is grounded in truth. They may not always like hearing it, but they anchor themselves to men who stand on it consistently. Truth doesn't require cruelty, it requires backbone. You must have the strength to tell her when something isn't working without raising your voice. You can call out damaging patterns, lack of discipline, disrespect, or unhealthy habits without making her feel small. Do it from a place of clarity, not cruelty. When you speak honestly, you become the steady anchor in her chaotic world. A man who hides behind lies, on the other hand, becomes nothing but noise. She'll tune you out, and when she does, your words lose all their power. You must understand that in the end, masculinity isn't about appearing strong. It's about refusing to compromise reality just to make someone else temporarily comfortable. And believe this, a woman respects a man she cannot fool. So remember, when navigating relationships and understanding female psychology, honesty is your ultimate weapon. It's one of the most potent psychology tricks in any man's arsenal. Never forget that truth might sting at first, but it's what truly binds you together in the long run. Be the man who can speak honestly, stand firm, and refuse to distort reality just to make her feel good in the moment. That's how you build lasting respect and attraction. Number 6. Never normalize girls' nights out without boundaries. You must understand this. Men who fail to set boundaries in their relationships will find themselves slowly losing control. One key area where many men falter is by letting their partner's social life go unchecked, believing that independence is always a sign of strength. While it's true that a woman having her own life and friendships is healthy and attractive, you cannot afford to let this blind you to the dangers of unchecked freedom. The Old Stoic wisdom teaches us that self-control is the foundation of mastery. When a woman frequently engages in unstructured nights out, especially surrounded by friends who value attention from men or thrive on reckless behavior, the environment she enters affects her mindset. Psychology shows that humans are influenced by the energy of the group they associate with, and nothing changes a woman's behavior faster than the group mentality of those around her. You must understand this. Group psychology is a force more powerful than most men realize. Even a grounded woman can fall into the rhythm of a crowd that values performance over substance. You cannot simply ignore this reality. Now, don't mistake this for controlling behavior. It's about understanding the profound impact that the environment has on anyone, especially on relationships. The Stoicism win comes when you realize that you must set boundaries, not only for your own peace of mind, but also to protect the integrity of your relationship. Without boundaries, even the most solid relationship can begin to erode, one subtle shift at a time. The more frequently she enters an environment that disrespects relationships, the more likely she is to drift away from the commitment she made to you. A lack of accountability creeps in. a loss of consideration, a loosening of the bond that once anchored her to you. But if you stay silent out of fear of being labeled controlling, you let the situation unravel while pretending everything is fine. You must step up. You must be clear and assertive. You are the captain of your own ship. Don't let the tides of recklessness sweep you under. It's time to be decisive. Boundaries aren't about restricting freedom, they're about mutual respect. The relationship is a partnership, and both of you must protect it, not just within the confines of your home, but in every space you both choose to enter. You need to articulate what is acceptable and what isn't. Healthy independence should never be confused with reckless behavior. You are responsible for setting the tone, for defining what the relationship stands for. When you do this, the dynamic shifts from passive tolerance to active respect. If she resists these boundaries, it's not a sign of her desire for freedom, but a signal that what she truly seeks is freedom without responsibility. And let me tell you this, a man who doesn't set standards invites chaos, but a man who defines his standards brings clarity, power, and respect to his relationship. If you let the environment she chooses to immerse herself in go unchecked, the crowd will set the standard for her, and it won't be one that benefits you. That's why you must act now. Set your boundaries early and make sure they are clear. Establish the terms of engagement with your partner, what is acceptable and what isn't. When you do this, you will strengthen the relationship. If you don't, chaos will find its way in, and your relationship will pay the price. It's your job to be clear, assertive, and unyielding in protecting what you've built. The iron mind of a man who knows his worth, who sets firm boundaries, and who communicates with authority will always win. And remember, he who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow. Know your why, set your boundaries, and protect your relationship with unwavering confidence. If you found this valuable, like, comment below, and share it with someone who could benefit. Don't forget to subscribe for more powerful insights. Comment to remember, I set clear standards to protect what I value. Remember, true leadership in a relationship comes from defining and upholding boundaries with strength and clarity. Let's build better, more grounded partnerships together. Number 7. Never choose her over your purpose. You must understand this. Nothing destroys a man faster than abandoning the very thing that defines him, his purpose. Yet, countless men make this fatal mistake the moment they fall in love. They begin shrinking their ambitions, delaying their goals, and rearranging their entire future around a woman who never asked for that sacrifice and wouldn't respect it, even if she did. Be clear, when you drop your purpose to please her, you set yourself up for failure. Attraction isn't based on how much you give up for her, but on how much you're willing to stay true to your path. A woman may enjoy being prioritized, but the moment she feels like she's outranking your direction, the attraction begins to fade. That's because women are naturally drawn to high-value men, men who have a clear vision and the drive to pursue it. When you lose sight of that, you lose your masculinity and, with it, your value. A man without purpose becomes emotionally dependent. He becomes softer, needier, and easier to manipulate. He stops leading his life and starts responding to her every whim, her mood, her schedule, her desires, while his own identity fades into the background. The worst part? She doesn't even have to consciously notice this. But the lack of ambition, the emotional dependence, and the sense of a man without purpose all create an undeniable shift. Attraction is not logical, but it is deeply intuitive. Women instinctively sense when a man is no longer striving towards something meaningful. When you give up your ambitions to focus on her, she subconsciously questions your long-term value. This is the crucial thing you must grasp. Purpose is the backbone of masculinity. It is the core of what makes a man stand tall, and it's what women lean on in a relationship. When you abandon your goals, you signal that your emotions control you. This is the opposite of what a woman wants. She doesn't want someone who will compromise his future for her temporary comfort. She wants a man who remains grounded in his mission, who stays focused on his goals and ambitions. That's what attracts women. A man who folds into the relationship and disappears into her world becomes forgettable. But a man who builds a life that she admires, a life that she wants to join, not control, becomes irreplaceable. You must become a man who's so immersed in his purpose, so solid in his masculine energy, that the relationship is an addition to the life you've already created, not the reason for your existence. Your purpose isn't a threat, it's your foundation. Without it, you risk becoming unrecognizable, and that's when she will lose respect for you. Women don't fall in love with men who are too eager to please them. They fall in love with high value men who remain strong in their mission, men who keep growing and striving, not for her, but for themselves. When you choose your path over temporary comfort, you elevate yourself to a level she can't resist. A high value man doesn't let his purpose get sidelined. He stays true to himself, and in doing so, he becomes a force that she respects, not a man she can pull around on a leash. So never, under any circumstances, choose her over your purpose. If you do, you will watch her drift away. Keep your mission, stay rooted in your purpose, and she'll be drawn to the man you are, not the man who fades into her world. Number 8. Never cancel important commitments for her. You must realize this. A woman will test the weight of your word long before she ever tests the depth of your feelings. That's a fundamental rule of female psychology. Nothing exposes a man's weakness more quickly than abandoning his responsibilities simply because she needs him at that moment. I'm not talking about real emergencies. Those are entirely different. What I mean is canceling your plans, meetings, projects, or obligations to others just because she's upset, bored, or craving attention. Don't make this mistake. The moment you do this, you teach her one critical lesson. Your life bends easily. And let me tell you, that's not an attractive quality in the eyes of a woman. Women observe how a man treats his commitments. They notice how he manages his schedule, honors his promises, and shows up when he says he will. These aren't just small details, they're crucial traits that signal reliability, stability, and leadership. If you don't honor your commitments, you'll appear unreliable, and that is a direct turnoff. But here's where it gets even more serious. When she sees you dropping everything just to soothe her, she won't interpret that as devotion. She'll interpret it as weakness, lack of structure, discipline, and a clear lack of backbone. Female psychology doesn't work on emotion alone. It thrives on stability and strength. When you forego your life to stabilize hers, she won't see that as love. She'll see it as self-erasure. You've essentially handed her the power to dictate your world, and that never works out. The long-term cost of this is heavier than you think. Over time, you'll begin to feel resentful for the sacrifices she never asked you to make. You'll start feeling like you're losing a part of yourself, and it will show. But here's the kicker, she'll start to resent you too. She'll resent the weakness you've allowed to grow in you. She'll resent the fact that she's having to carry the emotional weight of the relationship while you're busy bending and breaking to keep her happy. This creates a dangerous dynamic. You'll overgive, she'll undervalue, and neither of you will recognize the man you used to be. Psychology tricks don't work on shallow emotional gestures. To truly win a woman's heart, you must build an unshakable foundation of strength, reliability, and how to fall in love with yourself first. A strong man doesn't abandon his commitments. A real man organizes his commitments. He communicates them clearly and honors them. And when he makes room for his relationship, he doesn't replace his responsibilities with it. The woman in your life should be an addition to your world, not the center of it. You must prioritize your life, your passions, and your responsibilities. Because here's the truth, the world will only take you seriously if you take yourself seriously first. If you don't honor your commitments, if your word doesn't carry weight with others, it won't carry weight with her either. And a man who cannot hold his ground, who cannot maintain his structure and discipline, will eventually lose the very ground he stands on. So remember this. Never cancel important commitments for her. Be a man who leads his life, not someone who erases it to please her. If you found this video valuable, like, comment below, and share it with someone who could benefit from this wisdom. Don't forget to subscribe for more insights on mastering the psychology of attraction. Comment to remember, I honor my commitments, and I am the man who stays grounded in my purpose. Number 9. Never pretend to like her passion. You must never lose yourself in a relationship, no matter how tempting it is to pretend you enjoy everything she does. It might seem supportive, even sweet, but deep down, it sends a message that slowly erodes attraction. When you force yourself to like her interests just to stay close to her, you abandon your individuality. And this is a quick path to killing desire. A woman wants a man who stands on his own, who has his own passions, interests, and pursuits. She doesn't need a mirror reflecting her own life back at her. She needs a man with his own identity, one that she can admire, even envy. The truth is, when you pretend to love what she loves, whether it's her hobbies, the way she entertains herself, or even her social circles, you don't grow closer, you grow apart. You stop being the man she was initially drawn to and become a mere echo of her own world. While she might not consciously reject this at first, something shifts inside her. She begins to feel the lack of polarity. Attraction thrives on contrast, and when you step into her world without ever bringing yours along, you lose that spark. She needs to see you as a person who lives a life beyond her. You must have a direction, a purpose, an identity that is not solely defined by her. A man who protects his interests, who nurtures his passions, and who is driven by his own goals becomes someone she can admire, someone she can look up to. It doesn't mean you can't support her passions. It's healthy to encourage her, but imitation is never the way. You are not meant to become a carbon copy of her. You can stand beside her without stepping into her shadow. A woman doesn't want a man who dissolves into her world. She wants a man who brings his own world to the table, one she can enter, not one she has to live inside. This is the essence of Old Stoic wisdom, maintaining your own identity, being anchored in something greater than the relationship itself. A man who loses himself in the desire to please isn't a man to be admired. He's a man to be pitied. Stand firm in your own identity, pursue your passions, and be the man who exudes strength and confidence. This is how you win in life and in love. This is Stoicism in action, the iron mind of a man who knows his worth and doesn't sacrifice it for anyone. Number 10. Never sign anything if you're not sure you're the father. You must never sign anything if you're not certain about your role in a situation, particularly when it involves fatherhood. There are decisions a high-value man can recover from, and then there are those that can irreparably alter the course of his life with a single stroke of the pen. This is one of those irreversible decisions. Too many men, under the weight of emotional pressure, end up signing legal documents without fully thinking through the consequences. It's easy to be swayed by tears, the pressure of family members watching, or the tension in a hospital room. Perhaps you think refusing to sign will make you seem cold or heartless. But here's the thing, being labeled heartless for a few minutes is nothing compared to living a lie for 18 years. When there's even a shadow of doubt about your paternity, you must respect that doubt. Doubt is not a lack of faith, it's due diligence. Too often, society teaches men that seeking clarity makes them insensitive, untrusting, or cruel. This societal conditioning pushes men into making decisions driven by guilt, not reality. Women, whether intentionally or unintentionally, often exploit this emotional vulnerability to increase the pressure. You're expected to make quick decisions, and that's when you're most susceptible. But a man who doesn't think critically and act impulsively will never regret protecting his own future. The psychological cost of signing too soon can be brutal. You may be agreeing to take on financial, emotional, and legal responsibilities for a child that isn't even yours. If the truth comes out later, it's too late. The world won't protect you from the consequences. Legal and societal systems aren't designed to undo decisions made under pressure. They're structured to enforce them. This isn't about attacking her character. It's about protecting your own life. A high-value man who attracts women and maintains his masculine energy knows that his life, emotions, and responsibilities are sacred. He doesn't act impulsively. He doesn't sign anything until the truth is verified, not merely suggested. You have the right to ask for clarity and to demand it before making a monumental decision. You must not let the fear of judgment, whether from her family, or society, cloud your judgment. A man who is grounded in his masculine energy knows that commitment must be based on certainty, not on fleeting emotions or external pressures. He understands that fatherhood is a sacred responsibility and that signing without clarity is not love, it's self-sacrifice at the expense of his future. Before you make any lifelong promise, make sure that the life you're about to take responsibility for is truly yours. Such monumental commitments require proof. Never forget that responsibility is a sacred bond, and sacred bonds demand truth. Be a man who demands certainty before you make any life-altering decisions. Protect your future and your peace of mind, because once you sign, there's no turning back. Hey guys, thanks for sticking around until the end. I hope this video gave you a fresh perspective on how to protect your integrity and strengthen your relationships. Remember, the key to attracting the right woman isn't in bending or breaking your boundaries. It's in standing firm in your values and creating a solid foundation of respect. My advice to you today: stop tolerating the things that make you shrink. Take one small step towards protecting your own standards and identity, and watch how everything around you, especially your relationships, starts to shift. Remember, strength doesn't scream, it stands firm in silence. Stay true to who you are, and the right person will meet you there. If this resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It's not just for the channel, it's a commitment to yourself, a reminder to always push forward, always grow stronger. Drop a comment below and let me know which lesson made the biggest impact on you today. See you in the next video.